وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُّدَّكِرٍ
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Dear viewers, you're welcome to another episode of our program Quran Made Easy, reaching you from MTA Africa. In our last episode, we started our discussion on elongation, al-mudud. We mentioned that there are three letters of elongation in Arabic, alif, waw, and ya. We also mentioned the conditions for elongation. Likewise, we stated the two categories of elongation, the fundamental one and the non-fundamental ones. We said that the fundamental one are those elongations that do not come about as a result of a particular reason. They are natural. And we gave an example of the word qala. So we are not elongating qaf because of any particular reason. It is natural. That is what we have to pronounce. The second category, the non-fundamental one, we said it is also divided. It also has subdivision, two of which has been discussed in the last episode. We discussed al-maddul wajib, al-muttasil. We also discussed al-madd al-jaiz, al-munfasil. Today we shall be continuing our discussion on the subdivision of al-maddu al-far'i, the non-fundamental elongation. That is the secondary elongation. And the one we'll be starting with today is called al-maddu al-arid lis-sukun. This elongation comes about when we have a letter carrying sukun and we want to pause on that sukun. But ordinarily, the sukun is not original to that word. And that is why it is called al-arid. Al-arid means incidental. That is, if not for the incident, we are not going to give it sukun. And for those of us who have been following us, we mentioned sometimes that when you are reciting the Quran and you are taking a pause, irrespective of the vowel on that letter that you are pausing on, you have to give it a sukun. And that is why we recite Surah Al-Fatiha as Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. When we read Alameen, it means that noon we are giving it sukun, even though the noon is carrying fatha ordinarily. But because we are pausing there, we are going to give it sukun. So that sukun we are giving it is incidental. It is because of that incident. That is not the original vowel it is carrying. So when we have such thing and you are pausing, either at the end of the verse or at the middle, once you have that, then you apply al-maddul arid lis-sukun, the incidental mad on a sukun. That is when you have an incidental sukun. So it is not only at the end of the verse, it can also be at the middle of a verse. So the length of this elongation is just like al-maddul jaiz. It can be 2. It depends on the pace of your recitation. It can be 2. It can be 4. It can also be 6. Let's say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Rahim. That him is because you are giving that meme sukun. Ordinarily, it is carrying kasra. It is Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahimi. So let us say we want to read Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahimi and we want to join it with the surah, the next verse. Let's say in Surah An-Nas. We will say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahimi Qul a'udhu bi Rabbin Nas. So in that case, there will be no modul ard li-sukun. Why? Because there is no incidental sukun. So the incidental sukun will only come to play if we are taking a pause. But if we are continuing our recitation, then there will be no incidental sukun and there will be no modul ard li-sukun. Now, the example I've given now, we say that there is no madul arid lil-sukun on the basmala, on the Bismillah Rahman Rahim. But we have it on the nas. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. Nas. Ordinarily it is an-nasi. It is meant to be mad asli, a primary mad, a primary elongation, nasi. But because I'm pausing on that sin, then I take off the kasrah and I replace it with sukun. And that is why I've recited as an-nas. So that is madul arid lis-sukun. So the length can be 2, it can be 4, it can be 6. If it is 2, just recite like Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. That is 2. It can be 4. Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. That is 4. Then it can be 6. Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. That is 6. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. That is 2. Just like a primary mode. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. That is 4. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. That is 6. So that is al-madul arid lis-sukun. So when we understand the meaning of the word arid, which means incidental, then sukun, we understand, okay, just incidental sukun that will bring about this elongation. So again, when you look at the examples we have cited from Surah Al-Fatiha and that's Surah Al-Nas, they say, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. You observe that the preceding letter to that last letter given that incidental sukun is also one of the letters of elongation that you have mentioned in our last episode. Alif, Wa, and Ya. So in the case of that Fatiha, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, you see that after that mim, Kesra, we have Ya, before we now have that Nun, to which we have given the incidental sukun. Also in Surah An-Nas, Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. So we have given that incidental sukun to that sin. But before it, we have Alif being one of the letters of Al-Mad. So these conditions must be fulfilled. You must be pausing, and that pause will now generate that incidental sukun. Then that letter must be preceded by a letter of mad. So when you have all these conditions fulfilled, then you observe al-maddul aridu lis-sukun. The next one we'll be looking at is al-maddul lazim. Lazim also means obligatory, something you have to do. And it is also subdivided into 4. But we'll just explain the most important parts of them. There is one known as maddul lazim al-kalami al-muthaqqal. When you say maddul lazim al-kalami, it means it has to do with the kalima, that is a word. The mad is found in a word. The other one is mad lazim al-harfi. Harfi means it is found on a letter. The focus will be on the letter. But that of al-kalami, the focus will be on the word, on the kalima. This is from kalima we remove that kalami. So what is maddul lazim al-muthaqqal al-kalami? This is when you have a letter of mad, and immediately after it you have a letter carrying sukun. But that sukun is in a shadda. Do not forget that when you have a letter carrying shadda, it means there are 2 of that letter. Let's say you have sin with shadda, it means you have 2 sin there. The first sin is carrying sukun, then the second sin is carrying whatever vowel that letter is carrying, whether fatha, kasra, or dhamma. When you have dal, shadda, and dhamma, it means you have 2 dal. The first dal is carrying sukun, then the second dal is carrying dhamma. That is the meaning. So here, before we can have maddul lazim al-muthaqqal, muthaqqal means heavy. then al-kalami, that is found in a word, in a kalima, then that means you have the letter of mad, and immediately after it you have sukun embedded in shadda. You have sukun embedded in shadda. So when you have that, you observe maddul lazim. It is compulsory you do it. And the length is 6, just like maddul wajib. The length will be 6. Al-maddul lazim, that is essential. It is essential you observe it. And there is a very common example that we are all familiar with, and that is at the end of Surah Al-Fatiha. غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. The word ad-dallin, dallin, we have letter of mad, which is alif, after the dot. Then we now have that lam with shadda. In other words, we have lam with sukun, then another lam with kasra. That's the meaning, when you break the shadda. So we have dod and alif. Then you have lam with sukun embedded in shadda. So that is maddul lazim. It is an essential mad, essential elongation. And the length has to be 6. So you cannot make it 2. You cannot say غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. It has to be 6. غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. So it is maddul lazim, an essential mad. It is muthaqqal because it is heavy. And what brought about that heaviness is the shadda. Then kalami, it is found in a kalima. Kalima means a word. So the word ad-dallin is the kalima in focus here. Ad-dallin is a word on its own. So it has to be a word. Then muthaqqal, heavy, because there is shadda. The sukun is found in the shadda. So when you come across these, then you have to observe the essential mad. So another example is the word atuhajjuni. In this word, there are two examples of essential mad. 2 examples of maddul lazim, al-muthaqqal, al-kalami. The first one is hajju. We have ha carrying fatha, then we have a letter of mad, which is alif. Then immediately after that, we have jim with that shadda. Hajju. Hajju. That's the first one. Then we have another one. Juni. Juni. So the letter of mad we have here is wow. Then we now have the shadda immediately after it. So if you have to recite that now, atuhajjuni fillah. So that is how you recite it. Another example in Surah Al-Haqqa, Al-Haqqah. Al-Haqqah. Mal-Haqqah. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْحَاقَّةُ. So these are examples of al-maddul lazim, al-kalami, al-muthaqqal. Al-maddul lazim, al-kalami, al-muthaqqal. It is an essential maddu that you have to observe. So it is muthaqqal, it is heavy because of that shadda. We can also have it to be light. It will still be al-kalami, it will still be in a word, the word will still be the focus, but there will be no shadda there. And it will be lighter to pronounce because there will be no shadda. So we have just one example of that in the Quran. The word al-ana. Al-ana. Ordinarily, it should be al-ana. But we are prolonging the amza to be al-ana. We have to prolong it. So there is a reason why this prolongation is made. And we are going to uncover that, inshallah, probably in our next episode, when we look at another subdivision of this secondary maddu, the maddul far'i. But what we have to understand here is that when we hear al-maddul lazim, we should know that it is an essential mad. So when they add the word al-kalami, we should know that we are focusing on a particular word. That is, the maddu will be on a word, on a word, not just a letter. We'll still come to those ones that will be found on a letter, just single letters, like the abbreviations we have in the Quran, the al-muqatta'at, on single letters. But as for this one, it will be a word, just like al-haqqa. Al-haqqa is a word. Al-dallin is a word. Atuhajjuni that you have cited. No, these are words. They are not letters. So we'll come to those ones that are on letters. So we have to observe this, and we have to make the length 6. It is very, very essential. Wala-dallin. So as from today, do not recite wala-dallin or wala-dallin. No. Wala-dallin. Ameen. So jazakumullahu khairan. This how far we can go today. We hope to meet you in our next episode. For your questions and inquiries, please do send them to africa@mta.tv. africa@mta.tv. Thanks for watching. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.